Hello and welcome to Video and E-Learning, where we will look at the uses and best practices of video in e-learning. Our learning objectives this time around are to overview and get a basic understanding of the uses and best practices of video in e-learning. So let's begin. Unfortunately, teaching methods in higher education have not changed much. This painting depicts a lecture at the University of Bologna in Italy in the mid-14th century. Seems that student engagement, especially at the back, was quite low, and sometimes things have not changed. This shows just the typical teacher-to-student approach. We often take this basic lecture to student format and just package it into a video or for playback on the computer and feel like that we're done, that we have achieved online learning. But even if we have communicated information via a video, we have not necessarily created an opportunity for the student to learn. Or maybe we just package it slightly different. We could have it in a lecture form, or do a voiceover, PowerPoint, do the talking head video, or add the talking head to the PowerPoint. But we have not really thought about what makes for best practices in learning. Before we talk about best practices, let's talk about some of the uses of video. Because using video is good and it does help engage the student in the material. But let's talk specifically of audience and direction. As we've discussed, it's often used for content dispersion. And even if it's just a lecture, it does have an advantage over live lectures in that the students can pause and rewind if they wish. You could also use video as a discussion starter or as part of an assessment with a question or some sort of response. And in most LMSs, you can use video as assignment feedback so that you can give students some feedback on a written assignment or another kind of assignment that they have done. But also consider there's so many videos already out there on the World Wide Web. It's estimated that hundreds of millions of hours are watched on YouTube every day, and there's no shortage of options. So ask yourself, what kind of video could you bring into your e-learning as perhaps an expert on a subject? You know, there may be somebody out there that knows even more than you do. For a discussion starter, role plays, dramatizations, or actually showing real life situations. So it's World Wide Web to student. Also consider that there's opportunities for student to teacher video. Maybe as a response in an assignment in place of something written. Or some sort of video creation. You know, if you put students in a group, chances are that one of them is going to have a smartphone that is able to take video and edit video. And there are lots of free options on the web as well. Also consider student-to-student video. This could be done on a discussion board where instead of a text discussion board, you could have the students respond in video using the computer or their smartphones. This could be done in a peer review where students are giving feedback to their fellow students. So now let's talk about some best practices. I've taken these from John Medina's 10-minute lecture. First point, limit each lecture segment to 10 minutes, no more. Now, there's even understanding that perhaps shorter than this, maybe even 5 minutes would be better than 10 minutes. Now, we have the TED Talks to the right, and that's to explain that TED Talks, they keep all their lectures to 18 minutes, and we should use them as a bit of a guide. So if you out there are as engaging and as in demand as these TED Talk teachers, and you have rehearsed your speech hundreds of times, then perhaps you could stretch it to 18 minutes. And for the rest of us mortals, we typically are going to want to keep it to 10 minutes or under. I also want to present meaning before detail. Give a 1-minute gist to introduce each segment. So be able to say at the beginning of a video, in this video I will, or we will, and fill in the blank. Another great idea is to remind learners where we are with each video. They said in our last video we fill in the blank. Here's where we are in our learning, fill in the blank, and then to move on into the current content. And to explain how the current segment relates to the rest of the class session. Also a great idea to bait the hook at the end of each segment in order to buy yourself another 10 minutes. So use emotion and relevance to hook the student's interest at the end of the video to be able to pull them into the next video. So let me ask you a question here at the end. If you were your student, would you keep watching? Look for some follow-up videos that will explain exactly how to put videos into Canvas LMS and different kinds of video software, both online and offline, that you can use to create video content.